You're watching Good Morning Utah.
Good morning, Utah. The COVID-19 pandemic has devastated the United States, but particularly the Black community.
And due to lack of access to the vaccine and distrust in the government, the rates of Black Americans being vaccinated is dramatically low. ABC's Alex Perche has the story.
Just over a year into the coronavirus pandemic, and the U.S. has already reached the grim milestone of more than 500,000 COVID-19 deaths. Those most affected, communities of color. President Biden's acknowledged it.
The devastation in communities of color has been nothing short of stunning. Just look at the numbers.
The reality of those numbers is felt especially in Washington, D.C. Blacks here are approximately 7 times more likely to die of COVID than whites. When it comes to vaccination efforts, communities like this are too often not getting doses, mostly due to lack of access or distrust of the government. Samantha Artiga studied the disparities for the Kaiser Family Foundation.
Black and Hispanic people were receiving smaller shares of vaccinations compared to their shares of cases and deaths and the overall population.
Ward 7 in Southeast D.C. is 92% Black. Reverend Kendrick Curry of Pennsylvania Avenue Baptist Church says he's buried more people in the last year than he can remember, almost all from COVID.
This thing hurts.
For Reverend Curry, COVID-19 vaccinations aren't just a necessity, they become part of his calling. The church is in a pilot program partnering with the city to boost vaccination rates.
Throughout history, you found that the Black church in particular has been meeting the needs of the people.
The church also combats the element of mistrust that stems from deliberate efforts that harm the Black community, like the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. For decades, the government purposely misled Black men with syphilis, withholding effective treatments to monitor its untreated effects. They were told the study would last 6 months, but it went on for 40 years.
We have not only historical, but also contemporary evidence related to distrust.
For Reverend Curry, this is also about accessibility. He wants his pop-up clinic where people need it the most. During the middle of our interview, this man, overcome with passion, interrupted.
Working every day, and it hurts. It really hurts. It almost makes me cry. I just want fairness.
He'd have to wait longer. Today's vaccines were reserved for seniors. And that's precisely why Reverend Curry says his work is far from done, hoping his house of faith will give people faith in this vaccine. Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
Time now for your weather on the 4s.
Well, look at what Deer Valley's doing right now. It is snowing. Now, granted, we're not going to see a ton in terms of our initial push with this storm. Maybe a couple inches, though, to start. Then more or less a break as we head into the latter half of the morning, early afternoon, before we ramp things up for sure, though, into the late afternoon, evening hours. And, you know, it's starting to become real spotty out there, except in the mountainous areas of northern Utah. But as we move out, you can see that we're still looking at the snow falling here across the mountains, but the low resolution radar definitely shows more out there than probably there actually is. And then it clear skies out in southern Utah, leading to a colder start to your day than yesterday. Now 20 in Park City right now, 23 in Heber, 34 Tooele, 25 Morgan, even 29 now in South Jordan. But you know, as far as kids are out there for school today, some aren't in school, some are in school, obviously. Rain and snow showers by the time we get to the 3 p.m. hour, we're at 43 degrees. Now, we also are going to have some wind issues here with this storm because the cold fronts are going to arrive later this afternoon, but it's going to hit eastern Nevada first. Look at these west winds that they're going to see here, from 20 to 30 mile per hour sustained to 50 mile per hour gusts. And this is at the 1 p.m. hour. And as you can see off into the west deserts, we're seeing a pretty good little southerly wind push into northern Utah. Now that will boost temperatures as well. And you can see where we're looking at a little bit of rain, snow mix here about 3 p.m. prior to the front coming through. Then it comes through, brings just snow to the area. And then tomorrow, this is the final push of snow, but it comes very scattered out there, as you can see here on the map. And it will eventually sag a little bit into southern Utah, but by the time it gets there, really only looking at more or less some very light snow or flurry action, and then high pressure moves in thereafter. So valley locations 1 to 4, benches 3 to 7, 4 to 8 mountain valleys, 8 to 18 mountains. Now, the valleys, I am concerned that places like Bountiful may actually see a little bit more than expected because of some lake-enhanced snow, and that'll be the trajectory will be right into Bountiful. So that's something we'll have to keep in mind. 42 in Salt Lake, 63 St. George, 40 in Price. Of course, we're talking about the snow. It will redevelop here later today after a little bit of a break in our action. 63 in St. George, 55, 54. So a colder, windier weekend, and then it just gets super nice. But we might have a blip in the radar on Wednesday. Some models are liking it, some aren't, so I'd put in a chance of showers in. For the Wasatch Front, afternoon, evening snow overnight into tomorrow. That will accumulate a few inches. We know that for our valleys. Then we start to look nicer and warm up, and there is no storms in our forecast in northern Utah all of next week. Now, as far as traffic is concerned, still looking A-OK for the I-15 corridor. Some of our mountain passes like Parley, Logan, Sardine, even I-84, a little bit more dicier. You can see Evanston at the point of entry here. I-84, I-80 split. Devil's Slide and I-84 not updating at the moment, but they have had some snow-covered roads, which has led to a little bit of a longer drive time as well for I-84 travelers. And then, of course, Parley Summit, it is getting a little bit on the higher end of things, but overall, Ogden to the I-84, I-80 interchange a little bit longer, about 10 minutes or so longer. Oh, but it looks like now Salt Lake to Park City has gone down. Maybe the roads are looking a little bit better out there, which is good news.
Nice. Thanks so much, Adam, keeping us safe in the snow. 5:48 now coming up on Good Morning Utah. A firefighter delivers his own baby on the side of the road. How mom and baby are doing. Plus, Jimmy and his team ask people if they can identify our very first second husband. See how they did after the break.
This week's Jimmy Kimmel Live highlight is brought to you by Hoops Vision.
Congratulations, we've made it to a Friday. Yes. That means it's time for our favorite highlight of the week from Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Jimmy and his team asked people if they could identify our very first second husband, Vice President Kamala Harris's husband. Check it out.
Who's this guy?
That's my question for you. Do you know who he is?
No.
Does he look like anyone in particular?
Like he might have been on a TV show?
Like what?
Maybe like Seinfeld or something.
TV host?
He looks like an actor.
I don't know, something weird. Maybe like science. Looks like a science teacher.
It's like a soccer dad. Like his name is George and looks basic.
Who does he look like?
Bit like Big Bird a little bit.
Big Bird, okay.
But in like a manly way.
Executive director or something like that.
A very clean comedian.
Vince Vaughn impersonator. He looks like someone that would come out in WWE, like a reunion of some sort.
Probably some Netflix show.
Yeah.
From the 90s that's coming back, and he's old now.
Let's see if you can figure out his name. Begins with a D.
Dan.
Close. Nope.
David.
Nope.
Dimitri.
Nope.
David?
Nope.
Daniel?
Nope.
He looks like Derek?
Nope.
Dylan?
Nope. D-O.
Donald?
Oh, God, no. D-O.
Doesn't ring a bell.
D-O does not stand for doesn't ring a bell. If I told you his name was Doug, would that ring a bell?
Doug Peters. Is that Doug Jones?
No, the only Doug I know is Dougie Fresh. I mean.
That's not Dougie Fresh, I
Yeah,
have
I
to
know.
say.
I thought the last
I
one's
know
pretty
Dougie
good.
Fresh.
I don't think he's Dougie Fresh.
No, definitely not. I think, in all fairness, though, I don't think most people would know Vice President Mike Pence's wife by photo. You know.
Yeah, we've had 4 years.
And we've had 4 years. So give people, a break there.
There's been funnier ones, but that last one, Dougie Fresh, there's no way he's Dougie Fresh. All right, you've heard of firefighters delivering babies on the side of the road. It was particularly special for a firefighter in the San Francisco Bay Area. It wasn't just any baby, it was his daughter.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't this wild? So that's firefighter Kyle Tager and his wife and his newborn daughter. He was taking his wife to the hospital. They realized they weren't going to make it, so he pulled over the side of the road and delivered his own daughter.
This is crazy. You know how the stereotype is that doctors, if you're a doctor's kid, you never go to the hospital because doctors are like, hey, you're fine.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is that situation. He's a firefighter, so he's used to high pressure situations, and he was like, yeah, it's okay, we can wait.
Well, she's like, I'm ovulating, and you're just like, I'm.
She's like, I'm
contractions. Yeah, contractions.
9 months before.
I don't think you want to get pregnant when you're already pregnant.
Oh boy.
She's like, I think we need to go now. He's like, nah, maybe not.
Yeah, putting it off to the last minute. Now, to his credit, he says she did all the work.
That's true. That is very true.
They haven't come up with a name for their daughter yet. Any suggestions there for these guys?
I don't know. Is their names related to being born on the side of the road? I have
How about
no idea.
Rhodey?
Rhodey.
That's one.
Kind of cute.
Perfect.
Okay, really quickly before weather, this is kind of cool. A Vincent van Gogh painting is going to be displayed for the very first time ever.
Wow.
Kind of cool. So it's a rare painting. Again, Vincent van Gogh. It's a street scene in Paris. I can't say that. Montmartre?
Montmartre.
Ah, there we go.
Montmartre.
Our French speaker here in the morning. It'll be on display. It's actually going to go on tour, kind of. It'll be in Amsterdam, Hong Kong, France. It's going to be sold at auction for anywhere between $6 to $10 million.
Isn't that wild?
Chump change.
I mean, you imagine what Van Gogh would think of his work today. It's like, it's going for how much? And I had to cut off my own ear? Come on. Come on, people. All right.
Crazy.
All right. You got any weather for us here that's valuable?
Equally crazy?
Not $6 to $10 million valuable, but I do have some important information in terms of our snow here out there that we're expected to more or less develop over the next several hours into the afternoon and evening hours. But 42 is going to be what we're looking at here, and then we're looking at 35 in Vernal, 63 St. George. But overall, guys, it's looking like a very nice day in St. George. 63, 55, 54, 62 over the next several days. And then we are going to also pick up a little bit more in the way of some wind out there. So that'll be colder for St. George. But for the Wasatch Front, it's snow later today and evening, then tonight, then tomorrow. That will accumulate, and we could have some very interesting roads here for your evening commute, especially places like Parleys. So that's something to keep in mind. But, our traffic is looking good, and along the 215 belts are all looking A-okay as well.
All right, the time now 5:55. It's baby birthday time here, guys.
Yay!
This is Nyla.
Oh, look at her. She's so cute.
I love that little dress, right? Cute little smile. Her family says she's so funny, she's so smart, she's a great big sister.
Aww.
And she's going into kindergarten in August.
Big 5. That's a big year.
Big one.
You go, Nyla.
Happy birthday to Nyla. If you want to celebrate with us, just email us your birthday photo to news@abc4.com and put in the subject line, baby birthday.
Happy birthday, Nyla. Okay, it's February 26th. We've got a few national days. It's National Pistachio Day.
Oh, gross.
Gross.
No,
gross.
Oh, all three of us. Okay, we can skip that one.
At least I'm allergic to it.
Oh, well, that would be one.
No. Yeah. National Tell a Fairy Tale Day. This
Go
is kind of
on.
cool.
Okay.
Love it. And Once Upon a Time.
You're like Cinderella, that qualifies, right? That's
Right.
a fairy tale?
Of course, definitely.
Okay.
It's also skip the straw day.
I do that every day.
No straws for you?
No.
Yeah, I don't usually do straws.
Well,
I'll have to skip a straw in my smoothie today.
Do you find, I don't know, I think I just
feel
don't want to
it goes down easier. There are certain things you kind of need a straw for.
Yeah,
sure.
It's probably true.
That's my opinion.
The time, 5:56. Top stories working on for Good Morning Utah at 6. More Utahns can now get the COVID-19 vaccine. See who's now eligible for the shot.
Plus, we've got the latest on a Provo police officer shot in the line of duty, how the community rallying behind him this morning. Now on GMU at 6, the wait is over for some Utahns hoping to get the vaccine. See who's now eligible.
And another COVID-19 vaccine could soon be on the way. Hear what FDA advisors are doing today, which could advance the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
Good morning. A Provo police officer recovering in the hospital this morning after being shot in the line of duty yesterday. Coming up, we are live with where his condition is now and more on the investigation.
Plus, we are tracking our new winter storm that continues to progress into the region. We've got winter weather advisories up for our mountains. What about our valleys? That's all coming up in Utah's most accurate forecast.
Live from Utah's first TV station, Good Morning Utah at 6 starts now.
Good morning, Utah. I'm Brian Carlson.
And I'm Sarah Martin. It is 6 a.m. on this Friday.
And we begin this morning with a police shootout that put a Provo police officer and the suspected gunman in the hospital. It played out yesterday in Provo near Memorial Park at 9th East and 150 South. Provo police respond to calls of an armed man acting erratically. When officers arrived, they confronted the man and a shootout ensued. Police say Officer John Osagira was hit twice and rushed to the hospital. The armed suspect also shot by police. ABC4's Jared Giaccinini following the latest here for us, now live at Utah Valley Regional Hospital in Provo with our story. Good morning, Jared.
Good morning. The community rallying support for Officer Asagira and his family. He is recovering in the hospital right now after undergoing surgery late yesterday. Officials say he is in stable condition. Now, Officer Asagira was shot twice in the line of duty yesterday, sustaining injuries to the lower part of his body and also injuries to his head. He is expected again to survive. Police say Officer Asagira and several other officers were hit by shrapnel and broken glass during this shooting. The Provo police chief describes the moments after Officer Asagira was shot when he was being transported to the hospital.
The officer actually called her on his way to the hospital and told her he loved her. They're a young family. His wife's in shock, but she's handling it well. We have a team that's with her. So yeah, I mean, it's a very appropriate reaction. It's what you would expect to receive.
Tense moments. Now, the suspect is also being treated for gunshot wounds. His name has not been released, but police say he was taken into custody. An update on his condition has not been given. Now, Officer Asagira has been with the Provo Police Department for 2 years. Police Wives of Utah, an organization here, has set up a food train for the family, and everyone here is just very grateful and thankful that Officer Asagira is expected to survive. Live, Jared Giaccinini, ABC4 News.
All right, thank you, Jared. In northern Utah, officers need help finding the person who chased a herd of deer with their car, then hit and killed one. A homeowner captured this video on their doorbell camera. This happened Sunday night around 11:30 in North Ogden. The video showing the driver here, you can see speeding up on a 25-mile-per-hour road to hit that herd. The driver puts a deer into the back of the truck, left the scene, apparently came back and tried to cover the blood with snow, then supposedly left a deer in the snowbank.
Heartbreaking and sickening that this would happen if in fact it was intentional. So you know, it is a bad deal. We are looking out for wildlife, and that's what we want to protect.
The DWR says this is considered poaching. It is a chargeable offense. If you have any information that could help them, give them a call. Their number is there on your screen.
Just awful. And if you head up Big Cottonwood Canyon this weekend, be careful as well. You may spot a moose. Look at this moose yesterday, just hanging out on the side of the road. Utah's Department of Transportation tweeted this photo reminding drivers to avoid harming the moose today and every day. So it looks like that moose is enjoying the snow. What do you got? Any snow up there, Adam?
Well, yeah, we've seen some snow here at Powder Mountain. It looks like it might be coming to an end, though, but they did pick up 3 inches overnight, so nice little powder day at Powder Mountain, guys.
Lovely, inch at a time.
Absolutely, and we're going to see a lot more on the way for our mountains of northern Utah because this is just kind of more or less round 1 of several different little waves of snow that will come in over the next 24 hours. But this one was the weakest and the shortest in terms of duration. Storm Tracker radar, though, now is just showing the mountains out there just picking up the remaining snow that is still out there right now. And you can see around Snow Basin is still snowing, also down into the Cottonwoods. But overall, our valley locations, the only valley locations that have pretty much seen anything up in Logan and portions of Box Elder County and even Weber County. But that's about it because the rest of the region is actually still under clear skies, which is why your temperatures are colder than they were at this point yesterday because of the fact that we have little cloud cover out there. 14 in Hanksville, 12 in Cedar City, 18 in Price, also in Vernal and Delta. So it's definitely a much colder day for many out there. But the winter weather advisories are up all the way down into central Utah. And those mountains, and of course the western Uintas and some of the Tavaputs are included in this, but it's at 5 p.m. today. This goes into effect through 9 p.m. tomorrow as our next winter storm. It more or less just ejected a little bit of snow this morning, but the bulk of it comes late tonight, early tomorrow, and then into Saturday with more snow showers, and it will accumulate because we'll have colder air in place and a lot of instability as well. So that's something to keep in mind. Traffic-wise, so far, so good out there right now, but because we've seen a little bit of earlier snow, Sardine Canyon has been a little bit more of a slow go today. It does look like it's gotten a little bit better out there, especially now that the snow has come to an end. It's still snowing a little bit in Logan Canyon, but you can see the roads up there are still fairly snow covered in Logan Canyon. So if you're going from Brigham City to Logan, of course, it's a little bit of a steeper drive up. It's going to take you about an extra 10 minutes. Bear Lake's going to take you about, at least Logan Canyon will take you an extra 10 minutes.
Thank you much, Adam. The time now 6:06. A new group of Utahns are now eligible to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. Yesterday, Utah Governor Spencer Cox announced Utahns ages 16 and older with certain medical conditions can now get the shot. Those conditions include people with certain cancers, stage 4 or higher kidney disease, uncontrolled diabetes, and roughly 12 other conditions. They're also effective immediately. You can make an appointment anywhere in the state. It doesn't matter where you live.
In Salt Lake County specifically, the health department using age-based phases for those people with underlying medical conditions in that sign-up process. So appointments opened up Thursday for people 55 years and older to register. Later today at noon, appointments will open for people 45 and so on and so forth. You can find more details on our website, abc4.com.
Also happening today, FDA advisors are scheduled to vote on the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine. Those advisors' recommendation could pave the way for the FDA to authorize the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. If approved, Johnson & Johnson expects to have 4 million doses available to ship immediately and another 20 million doses by the end of March. Coming up on Good Morning Utah at 7 on Utah CW 30, we'll show you that advisory hearing as it happens live.
One of the spots you can get a vaccine, Walmart's in Salt Lake City. Walmart is getting more doses through the federal retail pharmacy program, so they're holding vaccine clinics at 3 different Salt Lake stores for several weeks. Find out how to sign up. Visit our website, abc4.com.
And with vaccine rollout expanding, some are wondering if they can keep taking their daily medications before getting the vaccine. According to the Utah Department of Health, COVID-19's vaccines were found to be safe and effective for people taking long-term medications during clinical trials. People taking antibiotics and antiviral medications also don't have to worry. You can still safely receive the vaccine while taking those medications.
Let's update you on our COVID-19 numbers. Utah reported 832 new cases. Our total now more than 369,000. More than 660,000 vaccines have now been administered. 220 people are currently hospitalized with this virus. 11 more Utahns have died. Our death toll now 1,890. Over the last 7 days, we're averaging 723 cases per day. Our rolling positivity rate down to 12.4%.
In this year's state legislative session, Utah lawmakers avoided hearing a bill limiting certain actions of Utah's Attorney General Sean Reyes. House Bill 232 is in response to Reyes supporting a lawsuit last year in Texas to overturn the results of the 2020 election in key states. The bill would require the state attorney general to consult with the governor before intervening in certain legal actions. The committee has yet to hear testimony for this bill.
New this morning, the Utah Senate voted in favor of creating a bill that would make it harder to switch party lines. House Bill 197 would prevent Utahns from changing their party affiliations after March 31st in an election year. The move comes after tens of thousands of Utah voters became Republicans ahead of last June's primary election. The Senate voted 19-6 in favor yesterday. It does need a final vote in the Senate before moving to the governor's desk.
And new this morning, Utah Senator Mitt Romney says schools across the country should be back open for in-person learning. Romney says schools reopening should be driven by science, and the data does not show that COVID-19 spikes in schools where kids are back in class.
I don't understand why our schools are still closed. There's some of us who feel it's a submission to the teachers' unions.
Now, Romney says for schools to qualify for federal relief money, they should be moving to in-person classes and no longer meet online. He says if it's safe for essential people to work safely, then students should be able to return to class too.
The tables are turning in a lawsuit between singer Taylor Swift and a Utah theme park. Swift's team has now filed their own lawsuit against Evermore Theme Park in Pleasant Grove, accusing the park of using Swift's songs regularly during park performances without authorization. The new lawsuit comes several weeks after Evermore filed a lawsuit against Swift, accusing her of trademark infringement over her album Evermore with the same name.
All right, the time now 6:10. A new bill in the state legislature could change Utah's transportation industry in a historic way. House Bill 433 would allow for $2.2 billion in funding for infrastructure, including $1.4 billion in bonds. The money would go to support transit projects across the state. If this bill gets approved, it would be the largest infrastructure spending package in Utah's history.
6:10 coming up now on GMU. Tensions getting even hotter over the coup in Myanmar. See the latest group joining thousands of protesters. And more snow means more skiers hitting the slopes. Our resorts are taking advantage of our recent snowstorms. Coming up in a live interview. But first, here's what's coming up on Good Morning America.
In this morning's GMA First Look, goodbye, Mr. Hello, Potato Head.
You gotta keep them together because they're madly in love.
Sprouting up this fall, a new storyline. Get ready for simply Potato Head, the Hasbro company rebranding with a gender-neutral name.
They're making a statement in the entire toy industry saying, this is the world we live in right now. The norms are different, and we actually applaud that.
The popular toy brand set to release a create-your-own Potato Head family, a set that will include 2 large potato bodies, a small child potato, and more than 40 different accessories, which will allow children to mix, match, and create the family structure they want. Coming up at 7 a.m., all the reactions coming in overnight, plus a look at the other iconic brands also working to become more inclusive. With your GMA First Look, I'm Deborah Roberts, ABC News, New York.
Time now for your weather on the 4s.
Let's check your weather on the 4s, Adam. Is that Star Wars behind you, or what are you seeing there?
It's definitely Star Wars, Brian.
Right? It's got to be lasers, right? It can't be anything else.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like on the Deer Valley. No, it's snow. We know it is.
It's the Death Star. That's what it is, Adam.
Oh, no, we're in trouble now. But you know what? It's good to see the snow fly, Brian, because it's heading into the weekend. There will be a lot of people out on the slopes enjoying the new snow because they're going to see upwards, if not more than a foot in some areas here across northern Utah. Deer Valley, probably not a foot, but you're going to be in the 6 to 10-inch range, so that's good. We are seeing the snow more or less coming to an end. We had more or less a round of it this morning that is now pretty much dissipating, quieting down, and the mountains really will continue for another maybe hour or two before we take a break for a while, and then we'll get right back into the swing of things here with the bulk of it and the main event coming in later this afternoon, evening, and overnight into tomorrow. But as we kind of expand out wider here on the satellite radar, there's, of course, our snow here still out in the mountains of northern Utah. Clear skies in southern Utah right now, leading into those colder temperatures. But as I mentioned, we've got more snow on the way. Now, temperatures across the Wasatch Front, we're looking at mainly 30s, so 29 now in Provo, 20 in Park City, 23 Heber, 25 in Morgan. And looking at the rest of our afternoon, we'll get to the low 40s. We have a little bit of south flow that's going to kick in here this morning ahead of a cold front that's pretty strong. and it will bring in a lot of wind with it, but it will also crash our temperatures back down to snow levels beyond the valley floor, because I do believe we might mix with a little bit of rain just for a second here this afternoon as that front comes in. But the front's also going to bring in wind across eastern Nevada. 10 a.m. today, we have wind advisories in effect here, 20 to 30 mile per hour sustained winds, 50 mile per hour gusts. Look at those westerly winds. My goodness, they are going to whip there across eastern Nevada. Now, we'll show you how this all comes down, because the front's going to be about right there at 1 p.m., and then it will progress through the area. Wow, look at that burst of wind coming right through the Utah County area. About 3 p.m., the front comes through, but you can see how it's a little bit of rain initially and then transitions to snow. And boy, I'll tell you, we're going to see a pretty good clip of a heavy burst of snow for the valleys at about 5 or 6 o'clock tonight, and our mountains. That could lead to some issues with the latter half of your evening commute. Keep that in mind, especially over the mountain passes. Then the mountains will just continue to snow. The valleys will more or less be intermittent snow showers here through the evening, overnight, and then kick back in tomorrow as that flow continues to be in that northwest direction. And then, as you can see, it actually more or less expands, and it more falls into central and southern Utah, where breezy northwest and northerly winds kick in, and that brings to southern Utah, especially the canyons around St. George, got some gusty canyon winds. So here was what we're expecting, up to 8 to 18 inches in our mountains. Of course, the Cottonwoods will do the best with this storm, but 1 to 4 inches in our valleys is definitely looking pretty good. 42 in Salt Lake, 63 St. George, but mostly out there we're seeing 40s and 50s with a few 30s here and there. So St. George, 63, then 55, 54, windy and cold over the weekend, but staying dry. For the Wasatch Front, afternoon, evening snow showers into tomorrow. That will accumulate on our valley floors. Then we'll warm up into next week, and it will be quieter and drier. Now, traffic-wise, looking A-OK right now. No issues out there to talk about. We just want to show what it looks like here from Davis County all the way down the I-15 corridor to Pioneer Crossing. Boy, I tell you, traffic is looking awfully nice out there, guys, along the I-15 corridor. As you can see, drive times are looking good.
All right, the snow is here. That means it's time for you to get up to the slopes. Our snow last week brought people from all across the country to ski in Utah, and with new guidelines in place, it is safe and just as fun as always to hit the mountain. If you haven't quite made it to a resort yet, there are some deals that just might help. Joining me to tell us more, Sean Stinson, Director of Communications at Visit Salt Lake. Thanks so much for being with us this morning, Sean.
Great to have you on. Have me on. Thank you so much.
Okay, you got to tell me the truth. Do you get to ski on the job?
I do get a fair amount of product testing in with the role I have at Visit Salt Lake. Yeah, it's fantastic, and
just call it product testing, and it sounds legit.
It's a wonderful job. A guy's got to do what a guy's got to do.
Yeah, definitely hard life there. Okay, we're talking deals though for skiers and snowboarders this year at this time of the season. It feels late in the season, but it's Utah, so we've got months to go here of the snow. What deals do you have for us?
Yeah, we really do. And as most skiers and snowboarders know, the best deals are typically in the fall and early season. But for those that happen to miss out on either season passes or other specials, such as the Icon Pass that's good at all 4 Cottonwood resorts, we at Visit Salt Lake have the Ski City Super Pass. It's a fantastic option for those that missed out, or for those that just might want a few days toward the end of the season, or if they have guests coming in from out of town. The Ski City Super Pass, probably the most flexible and value-laden pass for those who didn't take advantage of a season pass opportunity. You can purchase it online from 3 to 10 days. And the nice thing is it's valid over a 14-day period. So you can get a 3-day pass, a 7-day pass for as little as $108 a day for adults, $58 for youth and children. And again, it's fantastic. It's direct to lift. So you can wake up and say, hey, look, Alta got 18 inches today, or, I'm going to head over to Brighton for the day. It's so flexible. It's fantastic. And it also includes complimentary or free transportation on the UTA ski buses. So you don't have to drive up the canyons. You can go to one of the park and ride lots, buzz up the canyon on UTA, not have to worry about parking or anything along those lines, or driving the canyons, and enjoy your day.
That transportation element is so nice. It feels like getting to the resorts can sometimes be just the hardest part of your day, hardest part of the process. So the fact that you can just hop on a UTA bus, so convenient. Will you remind us which resorts we're talking about here?
We are talking about the Cottonwood Resort. So Alta and Snowbird in Little Cottonwood, Brighton and Solitude in Big Cottonwood. So again, if you have a 4-day pass, you can hit each resort 1 day. If you have that 4-day, you can hit one of the resorts 2 or 3 days, another one 1 or 2 days. Again, you get to wake up, you get to see what the snow conditions are like, who got the most, or where you feel like skiing that day or riding.
This seems like a great option too if you're maybe if you're new to the state and you are thinking about that Icon Pass next year. You know, you want to find your favorite resort, you want to find your favorite runs. This sounds like just the perfect trial run.
It truly is. It's basically a sampler, if you will. If you want to kind of sample the 4 Cottonwoods, it's a fantastic deal. And as Adam said, you know, the skiing is fantastic right now. We're getting more snow this weekend. Now is the time to get out there. The days are longer, and it's a wonderful opportunity. Again, take the bus. After your day, you can head down into the valley and hit, you know, hundreds of bars or thousands of restaurants for a fantastic après ski. It's unlike anything anywhere else in the nation, really.
It really is. And we're heading into that like perfect springtime ski weather. You know what I mean? It's 40 degrees on the mountain and you're skiing in the sunshine. It's making me excited just thinking about it. Sean Stinson, Director of Communications at Visit Salt Lake. Thanks so much for being with us this morning. Appreciate it. We'll have all of this linked, this fantastic deal, on our website, abc4.com/GMU.
Well, the time now is 6:22. Up next on GMU, President Biden orders his first military operation. See, the U.S. is now launching airstrikes, and Costco workers getting a pay raise. Hear the store's new minimum wage in your Good Morning Utah Business Report.
Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast with Adam Carroll, Weather Rate certified 10 years in a row.
Well, we've seen some snow here this morning, mainly over the high terrain, also places like Cache, portions of Box Elder County. Things are coming to an end across valley locations right now. We're going to continue the mountain snow showers here for a little bit longer. We'll take a break for a while today. Then we'll reload, and the main event will come later today. So we'll stay with some snow showers here across northern Utah because we're going to start seeing it develop around the commute, and then sun here in the south, but it will be cooler in some spots and warmer in others, like in St. George, 63, 55 tomorrow, though, with the front coming through, and it'll be windy to go with it. 54 on Sunday, and you'll have some canyon winds and be breezy in and around St. George, but dry until maybe Wednesday, where we might have a little shower activity. For the Wasatch Front, afternoon, evening snow redeveloping, could have some commute impacts. Snow showers overnight into Saturday, but this will lead to accumulating snow over time because we'll be colder and we'll continue to see snow fly throughout the day tomorrow. And there could be some lake and hand snow, especially around places like Bountiful, where the winds are going to be more coming across the lake from west to east instead of more northwest. But overall, we're going to just get back into a drier pattern, a warmer pattern into next week. Right now, I don't see any storms in the forecast here all of next week. Look at traffic. It looks absolutely wonderful right now out there right now. And taking a look at what we're seeing up in places like Weber and Davis County along the I-15 corridor. Well, this is actually Legacy Parksway here at 3rd North. I-15 and Glover Lane, starting to see some backup here. I-15, 18 South in Kaysville, and then Riverdale Road's looking A-okay. Almost no cars out there right now. So if you're heading up to Ogden or back from Ogden into Salt Lake, normal drive times, and that does include places like Provo to Salt Lake and Salt Lake to Provo.
All right, thanks so much, Adam. Let's go to national news now. President Joe Biden ordered his very first military operation, launching airstrikes in Syria.
Yeah, the Department of Defense says this is in retaliation for a rocket attack earlier this month that wounded 5 Americans. ABC's Ika Jachi has the story.
This morning, President Biden's first military strike launching 2 warplanes into eastern Syria. The target, a group of buildings in eastern Syria defense officials say are owned by Iranian-backed militias, believed responsible for recent attacks against Americans in Iraq. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin saying the military strike was employed to protect American troops overseas.
We're confident in the target that we went after. We know what we hit.
President Biden says the airstrikes were in response to a rocket attack on U.S. forces earlier this month outside Erbil in northern Iraq. The rocket attack slamming into a base that housed U.S. soldiers and contractors, wounding 5 Americans. On Monday, Pentagon spokesman John Kirby highlighting the aftermath of that rocket attack.
These are dangerous attacks. And as we saw in the one in Erbil, an individual lost his life, and now a family's grieving.
Officials tell ABC News Biden's airstrike could have resulted in a handful of casualties, but that it was the least lethal option.
That target was being used by the same Shia militia that conducted the strikes.
And this morning, congressional reaction already flowing in. Representative Mikey Sherrill telling MSNBC.
You can't simply attack U.S. troops without any response. And yet the response that he decided upon was measured.
The Pentagon spokesperson telling ABC that the Biden administration, quote, acted in a deliberate manner that aims to de-escalate the overall situation. Now, President Biden says he's open to rejoining the Iran nuclear deal that the previous administration pulled out of. However, he says he wants to see even more restrictions. In Washington, Ika Jachi, ABC News.
The time now 6:29, still ahead on GMU. Police across the state supporting a Provo officer shot in the line of duty. Here how that officer is recovering this morning in a live report. Plus, a woman who lost everything during the recession decides to explore the American West. It's a film you can see this weekend, and our movie critic is here with the review.
Live from Utah's first TV station, Good Morning Utah at 6:30 starts now.
Good morning, Utah. I'm Sarah Martin.
And I'm Brian Carlson. The time 6:31 on this Friday.
We begin this morning with a police shootout that put a Provo police officer and the suspected gunman in the hospital. It played out yesterday in Provo near Memorial Park at 900 East, 150 South. Provo police responded to calls of an armed man acting erratically. When officers arrived, they confronted the man and that shootout erupted. Police say Officer John Osigura was hit twice, rushed to the hospital. The armed suspect also shot by police. ABC4's Jared Jetnini is live at Utah Valley Regional Hospital in Provo with our story. Good morning, Jared.
Good morning. The community here are rallying support for Officer Osigura and his family while he's here in the hospital recovering after undergoing surgery late yesterday. The suspect also in custody and is recovering in a nearby hospital. Officer Osigura was shot twice in the line of duty yesterday. Right now, he is in stable condition, sustaining injuries to the lower part of his body and also has injuries to his head. Again, he is expected to survive. Police say Officer Osigura and several other officers were hit by shrapnel and broken glass during the shooting. The Provo police chief describes the moments after Officer Osigura was shot when he was being transported to the hospital.
The officer actually called her on his way to the hospital and told her he loved her. They're a young family. His wife's in shock, but she's handling it well. We have a team that's with her. So yeah, I mean, it's a very appropriate reaction. It's what you would expect to receive.
The suspect, again, also being treated for gunshot wounds. His name has not been released, but police say he has been taken into custody. An update on his condition has not been given. Now, Officer Osigura has been with the Provo Police Department for 2 years. An organization called Police Wives for Utah have set up a food service, a food chain for the family during this troubling time. But the community here and the family really just thankful and grateful that Officer Osigura is expected to survive. Live, Jared Jetnini, ABC4 News.
Thank you, Jared. Today could be a historic day on the vaccine front. The FDA's advisory panel is reviewing the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
We could have a green light on that third vaccine as early as tonight.
ABC's Ika Jachi has the story.
This morning, 2 military ships in the Middle East have been taken out of service because of the coronavirus. The Navy says about a dozen service members tested positive on the USS San Diego, and several people on board the USS Philippine Sea are suspected of being infected. It comes as America prepares to add another weapon to its pandemic-fighting arsenal. The FDA is expected to grant Johnson & Johnson emergency use authorization for its vaccine as early as tonight.
Now that it's going to be only one shot, we're going to be able to vaccinate more people by the end of June.
In addition to being a single dose, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine has been tested against several variants that are worrying public health officials. Moderna and Pfizer are already modifying vaccines to target certain variants, and both companies are testing a third booster in case more protection is needed. This morning, about 66 million Americans have received at least one vaccine shot.
We're moving in the right direction.
But the demand still outpacing supply. At one vaccination site in Massachusetts, 50,000 appointments were nearly filled in just 90 minutes.
I understand that there is a limit of vaccines. That is a real tangible issue, but there's got to be a better way.
Meanwhile, another warning about those variants of the coronavirus. Brazil just seeing its deadliest day of the pandemic so far as the Brazilian mutation spreads. And again, that mutation has been found here in the United States. Ika Jachi, ABC News, Washington.
All right, back home in Utah, let's take a check at our weather here this morning. Adam, what are you seeing for us? We're seeing snow, right, up north?
Snow up at Little Cloud in the Snowbird area here.
Ooh.
So a bit higher up at Snowbird, but still that's looking right at the top of Hidden Peak, Sarah. That's 11,000 feet up.
Skiers are rejoicing.
They are rejoicing. Now, granted, they're going to likely see an inch or two here for most of the day if you're going up to the resorts, because the bulk of it comes late today, tonight, overnight, into tomorrow. And that's where you'll really be rejoicing, because we'll have a lot more powder out there to ski. But it is snowing out there. You can see on a radar, of course, this is right in the Alta Snowbird area. It's coming out, it's hard to see, but it's coming down there across the Cottonwoods. And of course, some of our mountain locations are seeing that as well. But overall, valleys have been staying mainly dry except for Cache and areas of across far northern Utah. And those are coming to an end. And southern Utah, central Utah, clear skies out there. And so you're also a lot colder. With 16 in Moab, 14 in Hanksville, 12 Cedar, 18 in Price, Vernal, Green River, 16 in Ely, Evanston, 27 in St. George here this morning. Winter alerts out there. Yes, we do have winter weather advisories in play here. At 5 p.m. today, all these will go into effect through 9 p.m. tomorrow, and that's how long pretty much our next storm will go, with the bulk of it coming overnight into tomorrow in terms of the heaviest snow. However, our mountain passes, especially for our latter half of the commute tonight, could get a little bit on the slippery, snow-covered, and dicey side of things. So any snow showers will come to an end here this morning. We'll have a break. We'll have more snow on the way heading into tomorrow, and that will lead to accumulating valley snow as well. But outside right now in terms of our traffic, well, it's looking okay. Actually, we've had most of the morning looking okay, but we're going to start ramping it up. We know that the cars are starting to get out on the roads. However, let's go up into northern Utah, where it's still staying a little bit on the slick side of Sardine. Logan still seeing some light snow. Also, Logan Canyon is also still snowing pretty good right now. But if you're going over to Logan, Sardine, of course, is a little steeper drive up to the pass and the summit back down again. So it's going to take you a little longer. It's going to take you about 10 extra minutes here if you're trying to go from Bear Lake or vice versa to Logan.
Time now for Talking Pictures with Tony.
All right, Tony, you heard Adam say we've got snow this weekend.
I know.
Which means some people are going to be outside, but not everybody.
Some people are going to be home watching good movies.
That's exactly right. And so if you want to be able to check out all the new things, new recommendations, film critic Tony Toscano's got the reviews.
Yeah, and there's so much. I mean, I kind of do this 2 times a week with you guys, and there is just a whole plethora of movies.
A myriad, if you will.
Yeah, there you go.
A smorgasbord.
Yeah, a smorgasbord. Let's start with Nomad Land, because that's the one that I think is getting the most talk. Nomad Land is all about this woman who loses everything. She's in her late 50s, 60s, and she loses everything, and she finds out about this subculture in America of all these people that use their campers, and they're literally like, they're nomads. They go from one place to another and they camp, and it becomes this lifestyle. And the premise of this movie is sometimes you have to lose yourself to find yourself.
And that's what she does here in this movie.
Yeah, and Frances McDormand is amazing in this movie. This is a brilliant script, brilliant directing. This movie is a big contender for Oscar Gold. I'm really thinking that Frances McDormand will probably win an Oscar for this role, and this might be the best picture of the year.
Really? So it's safe to say you're giving it an A.
I'm giving it an A. It's available on Hulu. It's a Hulu original, but it is just a magnificent film, and it's my recommendation #1 for the weekend.
No kidding. Okay, so we've got a good start here. Where do we go from here?
Let's go with a series that's been on for 8 years. We've never talked about it. It's a Hallmark series called When Calls the Heart.
Oh, I've heard a lot about this.
Yeah,
actually.
And if you like movies that are or television shows that are kind of a throwback to the 70s and 80s family value shows like The Waltons or Little House on the Prairie and things like that, this fits right in that category. It's a very gentle, wonderfully romantic, and yet talks about a lot of the human experience. This takes place in the early 1900s as a school teacher comes from the big city to this little farmland and restarts her life. And I had a chance to talk with the executive producer and star of this. This is Erin Krakow, who just an amazing actress.
It's heartfelt, it's tender, it's loving, it's a simpler time for sure, but it's really meaningful, and I think it's been very meaningful for our viewers as well as they're seeking that sense of family and community, especially over the past year where we've all been particularly isolated.
So you hear her sales pitch, Tony. What'd you give it?
Well, this again, it's a series, so I had to watch a little out of. This has been on 8 years, so I had to watch a little of every season to do this review. But I'm giving it a B, and it is rated TVG, so it's
really for
everybody.
anybody. Okay.
Yeah, it's a very family-oriented show. And finally, let's talk about Palmer. This is Justin Timberlake's film.
And there's a lot of people talking about his performance here.
It's a wonderful performance Justin Timberlake does. The film itself, though, it's all about a guy that's, done some prison time, and he comes home, he's living with his grandmother, and he meets a kid who comes from a troubled home, and it kind of reminds him of himself. Now, I talked to the woman that plays the grandmother in this, June Squibb, who you probably recognize from a ton of stuff.
And I'm thrilled with it. Sometimes, you're not, but I really am with this one. And we shot in New Orleans, or actually in rural Louisiana. We flew into New Orleans, and then it was about a 2-hour car ride to get to where we were shooting. And they used a lot of Louisiana actors in the film. So that was great too, to meet all of them and work with them. So it was very exciting film.
Yeah, she goes on for a while.
Well, a little bit, yeah.
So what do you think of Timberlake's performance?
Well, Timberlake was good in it. The film itself, though, has some problems. Number one, it's just a straightforward film. It's very predictable. There's no twists, no turns in it. I think the writing could have been a lot better. Justin Timberlake's performance is really good, as is the little kid in this as well. The film, I wanted to give it a B so bad, I couldn't do it. I have to give it a C because of its predictability and formulaic kind of layout that they had. So it gets a C. It is rated R.
Okay, so you got a couple options here for you this weekend. You got Tony's reviews. You're armed. You're ready to go. If you want to see Tony's reviews on anything else that's out there, go on to Facebook, like his page, Talking Pictures, or visit his website, talkingpictures.tv.
All right, sounds great. 6:43 now. One Utah theme park's lawsuit against Taylor Swift is backfiring. Coming up, see how the pop singer is retaliating.
Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast with Adam Carroll, Weather Rate certified 10 years in a row.
Let's check your weather now, Adam. I think you said the skiers' magic word.
Well, you know, I mean, they've been pretty lucky lately. They've been my friend because I've been delivering them the goods in terms of the snow, especially the last several weeks, Brian. And we've got one more good one on the way. And our valleys are going to see some snow as well. But I don't know how many people are going to get excited about that. But we definitely need it, whether it be rain or snow. Any precipitation helps. And, you know, Utah State, we had a little bit of a skiff here, you could say, on the sidewalk because it's still been snowing here a little bit here up at Utah State. A little earlier, runner came by and left his footprints there, and there's the snow coming down off the light there. But overall, anything falling in our valleys is really going to start coming to an end if it hasn't already. But there's a reason why Logan's still snowing, more like a last little burst of snow coming through the area right now. But overall, it's mainly mountain driven at this point. But this is just round one because we do have more snow on the way, and it's already starting to move into the Boise area, and it will continue to track southward. But it's eastern Nevada that's going to get involved with some wind before anybody sees anything in the way of snowfall moving forward. But 20s along the Wasatch Back, Morgan Valley, 32 in Tooele, 35 now in Salt Lake. Temperatures going up. The south flow starting to kick in a little bit. That'll bring the temperatures up here as we progress into the afternoon hours. But not as cold today compared to yesterday. Mostly cloudy at noon. But by 3, we're going to start looking at the development of rain and snow showers. I say rain, but it'll be a very quick shot of some rain-snow mix ahead of that front, which will come in with a lot of vigor. And you can see why, because 1 p.m. in eastern Nevada, gusts up to 50 miles per hour are possible. Sustained winds 20 to 30 for a time, which is why it goes into effect at 10 a.m. a wind advisory through 7 p.m. tonight. And also we're looking at that south flow. And you'll see that south flow right there. Those are those red arrows. And then the yellow are the west to east winds. And that'll start kicking in. But the front will be about right there just before 2 o'clock. In terms of the Wasatch Front. So we're already seeing the frontal passage across Cache Valley and the snow starting to fly here in the northern mountains, also the northwestern side of the state as well, portions of eastern Nevada. But as we progress into the latter half of the mid-afternoon time frame, we're seeing the snow really starting to come down in the mountains, and then a band of stronger winds and also moderate to heavy snow comes blazing into the area by about 6 o'clock, so the latter half of the commute. But that will lead to some reduced visibility and heavier snow here across the Wasatch Front for a time, and the mountain passes could get pretty tricky. And you can see how we're staying in that west to northwest flow into Saturday. Things start to get scattered out there snow-wise, but it will continue to accumulate. And by Sunday here, we're looking at a quieter day, cold, windy, with high pressure and control. 1 to 4 inches with locally higher amounts for the valleys, benches, mountain valleys, and mountains up to 18 inches in spots, which is going to be pretty much the Cottonwoods here moving into the latter half of Saturday. But overall, 30s, 40s, 50s, and even a few 60s out there here for St. George. 63 today, 55 tomorrow, 54 Sunday. Canyon wind will come back into play on Sunday. It'll be colder as well. For the Wasatch Front, we're looking at snow showers redeveloping tonight into tomorrow. That will lead to accumulating snow. Traffic honestly looks a-okay. There's really nothing to complain about, but the cars are starting to pick it up. And you can see here that areas of Utah County are looking just fine, and more cars are on the roads for I-15 and Pleasant Grove. But hey, stick around because in just a little while, we'll be heading over to Utah CW30 for some more news, weather, and traffic.
Thanks, Adam. Time now for news around the world. In Myanmar, thousands of protesters still fighting against a recent military coup. Those protesters took to the streets yesterday in Mandalay amid rising tensions. Monks and nuns even joining in those protests. Security forces blocked the main road to downtown to prevent demonstrators from gathering. And people in Australia got a strange sight in their night sky. What they thought was a meteor show was actually space trash. Remnants of a rocket began burning as they reached Earth's atmosphere right above Queensland. A growing number of broken satellites and spent rocket parts have raised concerns over what scientists are now calling congestion in space travel. Pretty crazy. That's your news around the world.
And in your business news, Costco is boosting its workers' minimum wage, and the Easter season is driving up the price of fish. Here's your Good Morning Utah business report. The late start to the tax filing season is slowing down returns. As of last Friday, the IRS sent over $47 billion back to taxpayers. By that date last year, the IRS had sent back over $100 billion. But the start of this year's tax filing season was also pushed back by about 2 weeks. And Costco is set to boost its own minimum wage next week to $16 an hour. Company CEO Craig Jelinek making the announcement during a congressional hearing on whether the national minimum wage should be increased to $15 an hour. Plus, just when a lot of Americans are eating more fish, costs are on the way up. Part of the season of Lent for many Christians means abstaining from meat. But backlogs at ports on both sides of the country mean tons of seafood shipments are sitting in storage instead of being delivered. That's driving up costs for distributors and prices for consumers. And finally, Best Buy now says it plans to close more stores than usual this year. The company's CEO saying the closures are necessary as more people shift to shopping online. And that's your Good Morning Utah Business Report.
New this morning, the Utah Senate voted in favor of a bill that would make it harder to switch party lines. House Bill 197 would prevent Utahns from changing their party affiliations after March 31st in an election year. That move comes after tens of thousands of Utah voters became Republicans last year ahead of the June primary election. The Senate voted 19-6 in favor of the bill. It does need a final vote in the Senate before going to the governor's desk.
And new this morning, Utah Senator Mitt Romney says schools across the country should be back open for in-person learning. Romney says schools reopening should be driven by science, and data does not show that COVID-19 spikes in schools where kids are back in class.
I don't understand why our schools are still closed. There's some of us who feel it's a submission to the teachers' unions.
Now, Romney says for schools to qualify for federal relief money, they should be moving to in-person classes and no longer meet online. He says if it's safe for essential people to work safely, then students should be able to return to school too.
The tables are turning in the lawsuit between singer Taylor Swift and a Utah theme park. Swift team has filed their own lawsuit against Evermore Theme Park in Pleasant Grove, accusing the park of using Swift's songs regularly during park performances without authorization. The new lawsuit comes several weeks after Evermore filed a lawsuit against Swift, accusing her of trademark infringement over her album Evermore with the same name.
And a new group of Utahns are now eligible to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. Yesterday, Utah Governor Spencer Cox announced Utahns 16 and older with certain medical conditions can now get the shot. Those conditions include people with certain cancers, stage 4 or higher kidney disease, uncontrolled diabetes, and roughly 12 other conditions. Also effective immediately, you can make an appointment anywhere in the state. It no longer matters where you live.
Some good vaccine news there. We've also got some good weather news, right, Adam?
Well, if you like snow, for sure, absolutely. Yeah. But it'll take some time to get to that point here for most of northern Utah. We've seen a little bit of snow shower activity across far northern Utah. That was expected into our mountains. We're going to have a break here for most of the morning and into the early afternoon before the snow redevelops with sunshine in southern Utah, 63, then 55 tomorrow. Windier and breezy all weekend long and colder in St. George. But then it gets very, very nice thereafter with warmer temperatures out there. But for the Wasatch Front, quiet start. Then we see snow showers redeveloping tonight into tomorrow. That will lead to accumulating snow out there as well. By the time we get to Saturday afternoon and evening, we're looking at 1 to 4 inches for our valleys. Traffic right now is looking just fine, though more and more cars are heading out on the roads, obviously, so we're going to continue to pick up the traffic pace out there. But looking along the I-215 belt from the east side down to the south side of the 215 over to the west side, everything's looking just fine, so you won't need to find another alternative route because no need because traffic is just fine across the board. 8 minutes here, east side, west side, you're looking at normal 15-minute drive times. Up and down the I-15 corridor, too, is just fine.
Nice. Looks good. Thanks, Adam. We've got a baby birthday to share today, and it's a special one. This is Nyla. She is turning 5, and she's a leap year baby.
Oh.
Isn't that nuts?
Oh, yeah, so she surely has so many birthdays
exactly.
in her
so
entire
this
life.
Is, Exactly. So last year was her second birthday, I guess, right? Because it was a leap year.
Sure.
So this year, not a leap year. Nyla is still turning 5, though. She starts kindergarten this year. Look at her. She's so cute.
She's the only 2-year-old in her class.
That's right.
That's pretty good.
Exactly. Happy birthday, Nyla. So excited to shout you out on air. I would love to see more leap year baby birthdays. We've still got Monday and Tuesday. The first is Monday, right? March 1st?
Yep.
But still got time. Email us news@abc4.com with a little tidbit. Throw baby birthday in that subject line.
All right, before we let you go, did you know that the little apple on the back of your iPhone actually has a purpose?
What?
Yeah, I found this out yesterday. It blew my mind.
Crazy.
So the Apple logo can perform different tasks depending on how many times you tap it.
No.
Am I blowing your mind this morning?
Well, I mean, we all have cases on our phones, so like,
Right.
is this really useful?
Well, if you don't, you can use it for a couple things, like lock your phone, take a screenshot, adjust the volume, scroll up, scroll down, open the home screen.
Wow.
The trick is this. To activate it, you have to have the iOS 14.
Okay, you got to update.
Open settings.
Yeah.
Select accessibility.
Yep.
From there, you choose touch and then back tap, and that's what that's called.
Oh, I won't be doing any of that because I have a Samsung. So there we go.
They're not available to everyone.
Adam is superior.
Thanks for making us part of your morning.
We're local news on Utah's CW30.